Good people. Happy Sunday, man. I know it's been a minute. I know it's been a minute, but we're back. We're back, man. I'm back. Back. It's been a crazy month, but try to put everything in perspective. But we're back. But today I got with me CEO of Far East Basketball, Mr. Mike Musosi, man. And that, if you don't know about Far East basketball, you need to go out here and follow them. Moses has done an amazing job Far East basketball. But with no further ado, man, yeah, welcome Moses to the stream. I think something happened to him. I can't find it. Moses, yeah, I think I lost him. I think I lost him. There he is.
Yes, PK, I'm here. Asante pia. Nashukuru
Yeah,
for the
Karim,
opportunity.
Karim, what's good, man? What's good, man? How everything going on with you? You know, you've been busy. You've been busy with the street league and all that, man. You've been doing amazing things, man.
Hey, Coach PK, I can see you, lakini.
You can't hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? No?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? This is what happened when you. I can hear you.
Very true, Coach. Yeah, Nairobi, baridi, lakini pia tumekuwa busy, just doing what we do, running these development programs in the streets. So Street League is one of them. Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Awesome.
Yes, I can hear you, Coach. Loud and clear.
Okay.
I hope you can hear me
Okay.
too.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But let's talk about first. Let's talk
Yes,
about
I can
you,
hear you,
man.
Coach.
Okay. Let's talk about you, Moses, man. I know you can shoot and all that, but why did you think it was important
I
for you to stop
Yes, I can hear you,
basketball?
and I think I can see you too.
Okay. Hello. We're having some technical difficulties. Watu wa mitambo wako hapa waniambia kama ni pande yangu ama ni pande yake. Where it's gonna be tricks. It looks like it's gonna be one of those days, man. Of all the days that we choose to come back today. But that's the fun thing, right? That's the fun thing. But hey, shout out to the Morans, man. Shout out to the Morans, man. They out there doing great things, man. And man, talk about talent. We find new gems every year, right? Man, hey, your Koth brought that fire, man. Off that bench, your Koth was bringing that fire. Okay, shout out to King Albert, Derek. Yeah, if y'all not seen Derek play, man, go find Midwestern. Go watch Midwestern University when they play. Get on YouTube and see this kid. This cat can shoot. Hey, you back?
Yeah, I'm back, Coach PK. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. But anyways, we're gonna start, man, and I just want you to talk to us about why did you start playing basketball at such a young age, and then just decide to come up with Far East basketball. I think that's around 2010, 2011. Why did you think it was so important to come up with that Far East basketball?
Mm. Thank you, Coach BK, and also just thank you for having me in this amazing Scratcher show. Nimekuwa natamani sana kuwa hapa, so just grateful for the platform.
Huko, huko.
Straight to your question. Yeah, straight to your question. I would say one, the major reason why we've thought of starting Far East Basketball Association, unfortunately, it was just through a tragedy that the idea came. We had one of our athletes. I don't think a lot of maybe my veterans are wanamjua. His name was Daddy Okulo. He was a very good player. One, he had opportunity to play for Aquinas and also got a scholarship to play for St. Austin, and eventually also he was able to be linked with NIS. So he had a lot of potential, but also changamotos are Kayole in terms of just getting exposed to not so good grouping. So he ended up joining a group that pia walikuwa wanaibia watu mtaani. So
Oh, okay.
unfortunately, yeah, the cops kind of like got him shoot down, and that was a very sad period for us in particular because one, Daddy Okulo was one of those rising stars from our community, but unfortunately, we felt like just because he was gifted in sports, it did not mean that maybe alikuwa anapata the right life skills teaching. So for us at that time, as we guys were mourning him, this idea of just why not also now use basketball in particular as a platform to be able to also just teach life skill to the group of young guys that are within our space. Yeah. And the idea, I will not say that I was only the person that was into it, like the brainchild. We also had amazing young guys around it. Most of them right now may move into other things, but when we guys were starting this concept, they were there. Just to mention a few: Msao, Irene, Nathaniel. These are amazing guys that when we were starting. But eventually, I would say me, Shem, and Zedi ended up being kind of like the pioneers of this dream to the day that right now Mali took us. So eventually we were the one that kind of like take the driving role of just seeing it grow. And now I can say that since 2010, now we're in 2021, almost 10 years plus, we guys are still growing and using now basketball as an amazing platform and tool to change lives in this community at Kayole. And in particular now to bless you, and that we're able also to do the same all over Nairobi. Yep.
Yeah, but the question I would like to pose to you is like in a country where Bakesi number one, kuna mbio, kuna
Yeah.
volleyball, kuna ball. Why did you guys think
Mhm.
basketball, especially in Kayole? You know, like why did you think that? Why did you think basketball would help you guys bring the community together and work within the community? Why did you think basketball had an opportunity there?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, it's true what you're saying. Actually, in our areas, especially these areas are ghetto, football always is the number one sport for any young person, any young youth, because it's readily accessible and it's cheap.
Yes.
Inanga story mob, as long as umetengeneza hata ball ya makaratasi, you can kick it all over the place and something can happen there. But for us, I think that is an easy answer for me to say. It's because we guys were gifted in just playing the game. We had a skill in playing it, but also it became just easy transition to actually teach it. So I would say that it was a tool and a platform that we were comfortable in using in particular, and that is why I would say that basketball became that first option for us. Yeah.
Yeah, because you know, like when I'm looking at it, you know, like I'm thinking like ball, soccer, we don't need Viwanja, the fields already
Mhm.
exist. But here you have to struggle to find a court. And when
Yeah.
you find a court, it's a
Yeah.
private. You can't get in, imefungwa, lazima uende court ya church ama court ya shule. They don't want to work with you, or they're
Mm.
scared of people getting in and vandalizing their
Mhm.
stuff or not using the code the right way. So how do you guys manage to get all these things going and to get a place where you can call home and 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 work with that and work with different organizations in your neighborhood?
Hmm. I would say one. I think we guys are really blessed. We have a lot of goodwill first in the community. Led to Kondani, I would say there's a lot
Yeah,
of goodwill. In particular, we guys, you know that we are hosted at Kayole Catholic Church. They have a basketball court there, and they've been quite supportive. It's an open space for any young person, regardless of the background, religion, and race. And I think one thing that I also kind of like I'm very grateful is since 2010 to date, all the kind of like the priests, they had three pillars. They really support us. They really support us in terms of just making sure that we are able, one, to access the space, but also just keep communicating to the congregation of the important work that sports is doing, in particular for the many young people in Kayole. So also I would say the community is playing a very big role in terms of parents also understanding that sports is a powerful tool. And if you have a child who's gifted and they want to play the sport, just support them. And I say that we've been receiving a lot of support from parents here in Kayole. I would say that is why we're getting a lot of, I would say, uh, easy time in actually playing and engaging in sport. I would say we are
Yeah,
having
you guys have.
parents playing a key role.
Yeah,
We're having the local schools in our area, also the school administrators allowing us to actually go and coach and teach the game in their spaces. We are having the local authorities, that is from the chief. Yeah. So I think, yeah, we have a lot that is kind of like working around us to kind of like just help us do this and do this better.
how do you guys get, how do you get this support? Like, I know in different communities it's so hard to get in. Why do you think you guys have been successful in getting to schools, getting to churches, getting to working with the local community, working with the ministry? Why do you think you guys have been able to do that, whereas some other organizations or people will struggle to get that done? Why do you think you guys have been so, you guys have been easier, it's been easier for you guys to get this access to all these resources like schools and.
Hmm. I
Hello,
think
can you
one,
hear
I
me?
would say just being organized. It's very, very important to be organized and, yeah, and if possible, registered, because for us, yes, we are an organization, but we are registered as a community-based organization. So for us, sports has always been a platform and a tool that we're using. So one, clearly communicating that to all the stakeholders in our community, they understand that we guys are on a mission and we have a goal. And once they choose to support us, they know that they're also playing a key role in helping us achieve our objective of kind of like keeping young people engaged and keeping Kayole safe. So, one, being organized is very, very important. Two, registering the organization or the academy, that's also important. And then three, just being sincere. It's very, very important for me and key to say that being sincere with what you're doing, it always kind of like communicates that you care for the young people that you're working with. And that always reciprocate back to the people that are around. We call them stakeholders in terms of supporting. So being sincere, it's key. Kind of like don't set up the program on for example, the academy with hidden agenda, for example, of just using the kids and the platform to kind of like just benefit and enrich yourself. But if you're able to really communicate that whatever we are doing is genuine, I think that's kind of like that is a very kind of like serious core base of any program to succeed in any community. Yeah.
Yeah, but you guys thought about registering your community-based organization back in 2011, where the sports bill was, like what? How do you even how did you even figure that out? Like you need a community-based organization to run your things in the community, and because now the sports bill is coming, and all this is a requirement for organizations to do it, but yet we're not even doing it. But yes, you guys in 2011 have already done this. Did you hear me? I think, hello, Moses, can you hear me? Moses, Moses, getting that network issue, that network again. But it's a great conversation, man. We got to make sure we get this right, man. This is amazing thing what Fairba Nation is doing. if you don't know them, if you never heard about them, just association. This young man Moses, Zeddy, and Shame, they're doing an amazing job out there, and just bringing they've been able to harness every resource in that community, and they're from churches to schools to parents. And even the next topic we're going to talk about is how how they have managed to get a parental unit on their organization, and they have parents they work with. So that was the next question I was going to ask him, but we are having technical difficulties. But please, this is going to be. If I don't get it right here, we're gonna do an audio version. And again, as I said at the beginning, we try to do things a bit different. We're going to go to podcast. We're going to have a podcast where you can hear it from wherever you get your podcast. We're going to be coming to you. We're going to have the audio version, and we're going to have the streaming version on YouTube. So yeah, we try and get there. It's a slow process, but we're working on getting it there. But if I get Moses back, we're going to be on track because it's a great conversation, a great organization, what they're doing. So I would like to finish this conversation with him. Unfortunately, he's having, I try getting back though. Playing hide and seek, hide go seek. I know, Mary. Hang on tight with me. Hang on tight with me. We get Mary saying, please reset your network. Moses, please reset your network. I'm learning a lot from this conversation. Yeah, we can all learn. We can all learn from what he's doing. Guess who's back? He's back. Moses.
Sorry, Coach. Kind of. Yeah, I'm back. Can you repeat the question again? I was knocked out.
Okay, no. The question I was asking was, you guys were registered as a community-based organization back in 2011. But
Yes, Coach, I can hear you.
yeah, and now the sports bill has come around and it's requiring everybody to get registered, academies to get registered, and everyone to get registered. Why? How did you guys even think about going to get registered as a community-based organization? And this was way before everything was going on.
Hello, Coach. You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You can't hear me? Dora Uko, proud of you and the team, Moses. Moses, that's what Dora is saying. She's proud of you and
Hi,
your
Coach.
team. You can hear me? Man, we can't. See, we can't. You got to reset that. Come on, Southcombe. Man, I need to talk to Southcombe, man. Southcombe, we need to have this internet thing fixed, Southcombe. Yeah, it looks like we might have to postpone this one and see when we can do it at a better time and because it's a great conversation that I don't want to be that we lose information because of the in and out of the network. So we're gonna try one more time, but if we can't get it right, we're gonna try and get him different time and maybe record an audio version of this and just share that with people because I think there's a lot of lessons we can learn from this group of young men. Hello?
Hello, coach.
Yeah.
I think I've changed my location. Probably might have been the network.
Man, I appreciate you doing that because I'm getting messages are coming to me. They saying you got reset. Mary anasema upande juu ya mti. Mary says panda juu ya mti, please. She's learning a lot. Listening.
I'm heading there.
Mary apanda juu ya mti. So,
Yeah.
but Dora also, I got, man, like sometimes we go through life and we
Hmm.
don't pause to say, man, like Dora is saying, proud of you and the team, Moses Musosi, like she's proud of what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
Um,
Thanks, Trevor
yeah,
Lawyer.
yeah.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Aligi saying was really set to learn from Moses, but then internet it got down. Ah, we are back, Elizabeth. We are back. We are
Yeah.
back. We
Yeah.
are back.
Yeah.
We never left. Moses never left, and he's determined to pass information because he's even moved to a different location to make
Hmm.
this happen. So
Sure.
that's how determined he is to give us his knowledge and share his knowledge. But my question before we the internet issue was you guys are registered as a community-based organization before even the sports bill came around.
Hmm.
Why did you think it was important for you to go that route, or did you have more information? Did you get did someone give you like tell you like this is the right way to go? I know you guys have counsel, have lawyers on your organization, and you obviously have a great individual group of people you put together to help support your mission.
Hmm.
So why did you think it was important to go that route of a community-based organization?
Yeah. Thanks for that question, PK. One, I think the sports bill is a big blessing, and I think I'm really encouraging kind of like anyone, kind of like working in this space of sports and development, to really read it. Don't assume it's there. It's an amazing kind of like I would say tool, and once you read it, you'll understand that it has a lot of opportunities to do what we guys are doing. But I remember when we guys were really setting up, the sport bill wasn't there. And
Yes.
I remember for us, there was just the passion, kind of like I would say, and the drive. So I remember when we guys were thinking of how do we make this official in particular, we ended up visiting the office of the youth officer within our locality. So for us, we're just heading there just to share what we guys were doing on the ground and just requesting if the government would step in and support us, maybe in terms of resources and basketballs and everything. And I remember the lady's name was Madam Joyce. She saw what we guys were kind of like talking about, the passion in our eyes. I think it was me, Shem, and Zedi at that time visiting our office. And I would say she just loved us. And she was very sincere. She told us that for the government to actually deal with you guys, you really have to be registered. So she kind of like told us that the best option that you guys can do, one, you can either choose to register as a self-help group or a community-based organization. Those are the two options she gave us. And once we understood kind of like I would say the mandate of both, we opted to register this as a community-based organization because we ended up knowing that as a community-based organization and registered officially, now we kind of like have a mandate and kind of like I would say the legality of actually going out there and engaging with young people. But also, if you're gonna be approaching anybody to support you, they'll definitely see that you guys are serious and you're registered and recognized by the government. So I think those are the two routes that we guys had, and registering as a community-based organization was a quicker option for us. And we ended up taking sports in particular as a tool and a platform that we're now using to kind of like reach out to many young people and expose talent.
Man, yeah, that's great. That's great pursuit right there. That's pursuit of
Hmm.
knowledge and trying to learn. But I think that the one thing I've learned, I've seen from you guys that have done something different that I've not seen before,
Hmm.
and is that parental unit. That parental unit, and especially like in a country where parents don't want their kids to play sports. It's wewe
Hmm.
soma ukuwe daktari, wewe soma ukuwe lawyer, wewe enda nikisikia ukicheza basketball utaona. How did you get these parents to buy in that sports can be used as a vehicle or sports can supplement education or through sports you can get education? How do you even get these parents to buy in?
A good question, PK. One, I would say it's not easy. It takes a while, yeah, because you know that it's I think in Kenya and in Africa in particular, there's a certain mindset that our parents are having, and we're still working kind of like towards that, just showing that yes, other gifts and talents can actually be a means to make ends meet. For now, we're still kind of like trying to work through just knowing that a lot can be gained also by going through schools and being an academia, which is good, but other kids are gifted differently. So for us,
Yes.
one, I would say that first of all, understanding that parents play a key role, because yeah, we usually say that the buck stops with them. No matter how hard nitajaribu kusema mtoto akuje zoezi na mzazi aseme anaenda
Mama akisema
tuition,
mtuia kam,
ama
mtuia
amesema
kam.
akuji, yeah, definitely hata ning'ang'aniaje, no matter how gifted that kid is, yeah, the parent has the last kind of like, I would say. So
Yes.
one, for us, just keeping the parents close in terms of really communicating. And again, I talked earlier, just being sincere with what you're doing with their kids, because um, I would say what you do by your actions communicate so much comparing with what you're saying. So I think for us, one, making sure that one, you're very open with the parents. The reason of why you are teaching and coaching your kids, one, is to keep them away from the many challenges that these kids are facing in this community, but also knowing the fact that I think a lot of schools have also opened up to talent, and some of these kids also are getting exposed, and for most of them, getting opportunities to go to very good schools, but also for some, even extra blessing where the school or somebody steps in, like you, what you did with Joanne at Parkland Girls, somebody stepping in and supporting a kid by paying school fees. So you find that if a parent is coming from a struggling background and they know that if my kid works hard academically, but also is gifted in sports and they're able to get these opportunities, now parents are able to buy into that idea. And now we have a lot of these parents as ambassadors. Actually are the ones who maybe wapo kwa ploti, mama akiosha vyombo, namwambia lazima upeleke mtoto wako pale basketball Diopa at least acheze. If maybe the kid has an issue with discipline, asema pana mpeleke pale Diopa. We have coaches that are deal with that. If maybe a parent is struggling in terms of financially or fees and the kid is still in primary school, the parents mwenye ameshasaidika, they end up really encouraging them. No, mpeleke pale the basketball court. If he's able to grasp the skills, you may never know akimaliza class 8, there's always something that might pop up. So I think parents are key stakeholders, again, to anybody who's working with kids in any sphere, kind of like keeping parents at the core. It's very, very important. That is also, I would say, one of the pillars that we guys have been having, that it has made us to be very, very successful. Constant communication and engagement with parents with what you're doing with their kids.
Yeah. And that's always a tough one. And
Mm-hmm.
that's always a tough one. And that's always a
Yeah.
tough one because like, and I get it, and I get where our parents are coming from. I get it. Like my mom, she didn't go to school, but then
Mm-hmm.
she sees me just playing basketball, and she's like, man, this guy's gonna waste his life away when I'm
Sure.
trying to get him to school. Like I get that, but I'm saying to
Yeah.
convey the message is what is tough to them to get that mindset, that change of mindset in our culture,
Mm-hmm.
and be like sports can supplement education, and we both can exist together
Yeah.
and still
Yeah.
excel in whatever we are doing. So
Yeah.
I applaud you guys for that, man. That's tough. That's one of the
Yeah.
toughest thing I think you can get to do is, parent ametoka kuhustle alipia mtoi school fees, lakini kwa sababu mtu akuja acheze baki.
Yeah. And I think, yeah, for me, I'll always appreciate the parents. It's true. It's a genuine concern, because pia kuna ile kind of like the thought of like ukiacha tu mtoto aende acheze, and the
Yes.
future is coming. If they are not prepared for that, then the parent might take that as a failure. So for us, we feel like it's a genuine concern. But hey, we're just kind of like calling to all those parents outside there. If your child may show interest in arts and in gift, and they are gifted in that, come on, support them. You may never know what God wants to do and use them with that gift in particular. And I think for us, we've seen a lot of testimonies around kind of like with that kind of like, I would say, angle. Yeah.
Na masomo si ya kila mtu. Masomo.
Sure, ni ukweli, ni
and
ukweli.
and that's also something we have to, as a community, we have to come and understand that masomo si ya kila mtu. It's not
Yeah.
everybody who process information the same way because of
Mm-hmm.
based on different learning styles, and
Yeah.
there's different comprehension. People comprehend things. There's different teaching styles. So
Mm-hmm.
the way one teacher teaches, it might not impact everybody because I don't learn the same way as everybody in that
Mm-hmm.
class.
Yes,
So
coach.
yeah. So but what I also like is about like you guys, you get these kids to the program, they get, and then they come back and they're still working with you guys. You find
Mm-hmm.
like someone is coaching like under 14 after they've gone through your mentorship program and your training. Why have you thought it was so important for you guys to do that and keep people in the same, like people who already know? Because even Coach K mentioned, I'm watching one of these audio about Coach K, and he was talking about, for him it's very important to have on his staff people who played for him, because they
Mm,
already know and understand what he's about. So it's easier
mhm,
for someone else to give that information. So, and I
mhm.
think you guys have done a great job in there.
Sure. I
Yeah.
think for that one, I would say, because I would say first, when you guys were stepping out, it might have been an experiment. So I would say that that experiment has really been successful. And I would say right now we are having a lot of these young athletes, kind of like now at the level of college and university. And I would say now we call this an ecosystem. It's just by default. Since they know where they came from, they feel like they're obligated to actually go back and give back. So that's why you're finding a lot of these young, right now we're calling them young coaches, the Juans, the Dukes, the Bryans. They're right now doing a lot of good work back here in their communities because they can remember that one day when maybe they were in primary school, they're in Imara, and maybe Coach Shem, Coach Zedi, or one of the young coaches stepped into that space and recruited them. And right now they're seeing where they are because of basketball. They feel like also they need to do the same. I think for us, having that mindset for any young athlete who has actually passed through such a space and they've received blessings to actually come back and give back to the young ones that are behind. Because also, I know me and the rest of us who are now getting aged, we might not be in this space forever. But for us, it's going to be very, very important for those who pass through this to actually be here to take over the mantle and still guide this. For us, 100 years from now, we'll love to see this still happening in our communities and in our spaces. Yeah.
Man, I would love to see happening in every community, man. What you guys are doing, man, is amazing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I would like us to take that blueprint and photocopy that in, every neighborhood, man. To the Kibita, we photocopy the same thing.
Yeah.
To the
Yeah.
Madare, copy paste, and obviously improve it and make it better and make it our own thing that we can do like that, man. So, and actually Zeddy's on here, man. Zeddy say, Mr. Chairman, I'm a true leader,
Yeah.
Mister. So, but yeah, but again, what I like is also like the seriousness you guys take in developing also like leaders. You guys have even bring them in for trainings and all. You really do a good job in getting materials and putting the leaders in training so that they understand what
Mm.
role they are taking. But talk to us about that process and why do you think? Unajua sisi most of our leaders ni jamaa amegrow tu anakuwa alicheza baki muda mrefu, then
Yeah.
sasa yeye ndio mdosi, hata kuna klasi amechukua,
Mhm.
but being a leader, you need to get some skills that have to be taught, maybe from different parts, or not different inter meet different people, interconnect
Mm.
with different people. So talk about why do you think it's so important for you guys to do that leadership training?
I think one for us understanding that this call, it's a serious call. We feel like one, it's very, very important actually to equip. I usually call them the workers who are working in the field with the right tools. So one for us, just being kind of like I would say very intentional in making sure that any young coach that is going to work with our athletes are really exposed to knowledge and information and skills to do that job. And I think we guys have been very, very blessed to actually really work with all one, that is Coach Harry has been
Yeah.
kind of like at the core in kind of like really working with our young coaches. Me, Shem, and Zed were one of his first pioneers that he worked with, and actually the LATAD, the long-term athlete development structure, being one of the blueprints that we guys are using in our programs. And you can actually see the level of athletes that we guys are able to release very, very fine in skill execution. So for us, one, taking this work seriously means that also you have to invest. You have to invest in knowledge. You have to invest in terms of like knowing what's needed to be done. You have to invest in understanding the different age groups and their requirements so that if you're placed in that space, you're able to deliver and deliver well. So for us, we feel like it's very, very key and very, very important. And again, it's just to echo all the other programs that actually I would say that have really stood out, because now we cannot only say that it's only FEBA actually doing this amazing work in Nairobi and maybe all over the country. Right now, we are having other good programs that are doing amazing work. We have Mary from Yala doing amazing work there, doing a lot. We've had Slam Dunk, just one of the best programs in Nairobi. If you want point guards, head there. Those coaches are putting a lot of work in building, and it tells you that they've been exposed to the right content to teach those athletes. Kibra is one of those amazing programs that is actually doing a lot of good work. Vikapu, now they're rising up, Zedi kind of like being on that side. It tells you that the young coaches who are really working in this amazing space right now, they're very, very intentional in exposing themselves to knowledge and skill. And I think that is why I feel like the future for Kenyan basketball right now, it's in the right track. Yeah.
Yeah, man, you've mentioned like 10 different programs, man. And when I was
Mm-hmm.
growing up, we didn't even have one. So, so I can say we're definitely on the right track. But I've never been worried about the talent we can produce in Kenya because I knew
Mm-hmm.
it was just a matter of time. Because
Yeah.
if you look at what we have, right? If you look at what we have resources wise in terms
Mm-hmm.
of people, players, we have athleticism, we have length, we have very agile players. We don't have those little bigs like who cannot run or who cannot.
Mm-hmm.
We have a group, we have our main skills is running, being very athletic, playing high tempo, up and flow. So in terms of resources, I've always known, we good. It's time, it's just
Yeah.
but when our skill set catches up with our athletic ability, then people gonna be in trouble. That's what I
Yes.
really believe. That's what I really
Yes.
believe because if you look at the players who look at some of our players who really are playing well. If you look at the Gundos, if you look at the Okal, King
Mm.
Albert, you look at Tyler, you look at Bush. Those are people who are like natural. They were talented athletically, but now their
Mm.
skill set is catching up with,
Yeah.
with, with their, and they are becoming nightmares for people out there. So
Yeah.
yeah, and with what you mentioned like 10 programs, man.
Yeah.
But where do you see you guys? Like, what's next for you guys? Like you've been doing like what is that? What is that? If I had this, I would do this for you guys.
I would say if you say what's next for us, one is just clearly understanding that right now a lot of young people are now opting to play basketball as one of their best options. And it's obvious, as we just mentioned, with the amazing academies all over the country right now, working with youth, working with talent. And these youth, they're young. So, one, I would say that just being wise, we need to set up such programs of where these athletes are going to end up being, especially when they're actually, I would say, adults in particular, because we might be right now excited with the many young kids and the many young athletes entering the game. But are we intentionally thinking of 10 years from now where that talent will be? Not all of them will end up basically playing professional in particular.
Oh
Not
yeah,
all of them
no,
will end
no,
up
no
being
doubt,
in the national team. But
no
as
doubt.
you're saying, coach, like a lot of this talent, where will it go? So for us, what the question you're asking, what is next, is what you've seen us trying to do with the street leagues, just trying to create this platform. I usually call it the next exit for a lot of these young kids when they're just done with high school or college. Not most of them will eventually play in our Premier Leagues because of the limited numbers. But since these kids are in the streets, are in the hoods, we usually call it Oko grassroots, Oko machinani, having these kind of like I would say development leagues for exposure, I think it's key. And I think for us, that is now kind of like our next step, really working so hard to really make this experience better for them so that we know that by this experience being better, one, it's going to really influence the level of playing, the level of competition, which again, naturally, it's going to trickle down to the level of our leagues. That is the Premier League and the Division Two leagues, which is definitely going to trickle down to our national team. So I think for us, we understand the role that you're playing, especially here at the grassroots. And right now, just making sure you're able to build as many exposure leagues like the way Street League and the Women League have been doing. I think that is what's next for us in particular. Yeah.
Yes, I like the slogan. I like the tagline, man. Local is good. Let's talk about that, man. Local is good, man. Let's talk about that tagline right
Yeah.
there. And why did you guys choose that tagline, man? Local is good.
Yeah. It's simple, but also carries a lot. It's simple, but also carries a lot. One, it's time that we start celebrating the amazing talent that is locally built. And I believe all these academies have been doing that. The programs in Umoja, just as I mentioned in Madare, you've been able to see this talent. And if we start celebrating these young athletes, it's most definitely that one, they'll actually work in improving their craft. So for us, knowing that we have a lot of young talent that is local, having that tagline is just calling out to guys like you, the PKs, the national team coach, Liz Mills, who are actually in this other level, to actually be very, very intentional when they are coming, to actually go down to the grassroots and see how the local talent also is able to really play. So also kind of like calling all stakeholders, the corporates, come on, step out and start supporting local. It might not only be in basketball, but also in all the other fields. We need to start celebrating our athletes the same way we idolize LeBron James, Steph Curry's, and the rest. When you start doing that also with Kina Grifo, with Kina Okal, it must come from us. We must celebrate our own. And that is where that tagline for us really means a lot and carries a lot of weight. It's time to celebrate our own unique talent that has been produced here locally also. Yeah.
Man, I've been saying that for years. I've been saying it's
Yeah.
time we celebrate local. Like I remember even when we were doing Friday night basketball, we were very
Mm-hmm.
deliberate in putting
Mm-hmm.
local players like on the posters, like on the
Sure.
and that's why it starts. And so that's a great thing you guys are doing because that's where it starts. If we
Yeah.
cannot celebrate, if you go and create a poster of a function of about Kenyan basketball, but then you're putting LeBron James on that
Mm-hmm.
poster,
Yeah. So,
like it doesn't even make sense for us because I'm like, okay, how about put Griffo? How about put Okal? But that's something we haven't been good at. But we have to be intentional. You talk about intentional. We have to be
yeah.
intentional in doing that so that we can. Hata mtoi mashinani akicheki picha anasema ule ni Mose. Like they can relate and they
Mm,
can see.
yes, yes.
Because I think for me, even growing up, I became good at basketball by watching people like Isaac Omole, like people who are real stars but were next to me.
Mm,
Like
yeah.
I had my role models like in a Pippen, but to me it was those like Isaac and Big Sam playing with those guys every day. Now you're there. I would
Mm,
see them. I would be like, man, I want to play like those guys one day. So yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's what it is, man. Local is good, but since machinani tunakaa, machinani sio tunakaa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think with that statement, actually just being able to, I would say, like being exposed to the street league and basically seeing this amazing talent coming from different hoods. When we say that local is good, we're not just putting that as just a slang. It's true. Just sometimes find a way and come and watch these games. You'll be amazed with the amazing talent that are coming from all over this hood, all over Nairobi. So we believe that it's just a matter of time. Just what you said, it's just a matter of time before we kind of like create an amazing ecosystem where players are at the center of attention globally also. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Last week, I think 2 weeks ago, I put a comment, and I think a lot of people went after the messenger instead of listening to the message. I was like,
Mhm.
we need to start playing man to man because I feel like man to zone does not let our players become creative. And
Yeah.
when I watch street basketball, I see you guys playing man to man, and those guys are going behind the back between their legs. And when I look at that, I'm like, yeah, I think that's what. Don't
Mhm.
you think playing man to man and playing zone, there's a big difference? People become creative when they play man to man. Or what's your take on that?
I think it's obvious, it's huge, especially playing man to man. It should not be introduced at that elite level. I think it should be introduced at the development level because I believe it builds the skill of these players, one, to handle pressure, but also to make baskets under those under pressure. So I think, yes, I concur with you on that statement, man to man, because, for example, how I've seen most of the teams playing in the street league, hey, you have to match up with your man. Your man cannot be killing us every time. So you find that these players are actually competing in terms of like, you beat me, I'm coming for you. So I think having that kind of like really induced, kind of like, I think it adds a lot of flavor in the game because, yeah, you know that sometimes the zone is just packing up the zone, limits a lot of action, a lot of crossover, and a lot of plays.
Yeah,
And the street, I think the man to man has given us amazing plays. Somebody being crossed out, an alley oop, and a dunk. These are amazing plays that are very, very hard to actually happen if a zone is really packed. So I think the man-to-man also opens up the court space. Sure.
And I think also it does help players to be creative. I think our basketball, the way we play, is very restrictive in terms of letting players be creative. Like going behind the back, between the legs. Okay, behind the back to a turnover. Tulikuambia usiende behind the back. So apart, like the way the way we've learned basketball, I think is very
Mhm.
it stifles our creativeness, and I think with what I see you guys doing, it lets players just play, and
Yeah.
players are having fun, and if fans will come, then sponsors will come, corporate will
Yes.
come. But
Sure.
if you have an empty gym, it doesn't matter what we say.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if hakuna watu kwa gym. Who's gonna put their name on that, man? Like, or who's gonna put? But if now you're coming and there's 500 people at a court in Umoja, think about that. Could have
Hmm.
fans 500 people at a court in
Yeah.
Umoja. That's crazy. If you think,
Yeah. And I think we usually use this at the time. And I remember we were just sharing with the other guys. It's like give the street what the street needs. And I think the street always, I think when you're playing the games in Umoja, sometimes they may sound funny. They're like baying for an ankle breaker or something. So they're just expecting kind of like a spectacular show. And I believe the man-to-man really allows that to happen. And for us, I think also just being able to do that now at this level, we are also having a bunch of young kids watching. I think automatically it's going to trickle down to how now the academies will be coaching and teaching these kids. Because just as you said, for them now, they have their local heroes, the Griffos. They've seen Griffo doing amazing crossovers in Umoja. So these young kids, the whole week, they're actually training that crossover move that they saw either Griffo or Duke or one of these young athletes doing. They cannot wait to practice that. And I remember, just as you said, even for me, I used to kind of like lean a lot on watching the NBA action and picking what I saw Jordans and Kobe's doing and practicing that behind the scene. But for our kids now, they're able to actually pick that from local talent. And that is why I feel like the future for us in terms of basketball, I think it's now in the right track. In the right track.
Man, I believe so, man.
Yeah.
With everything you
Yeah.
guys are doing, different organizations coming in, and I can't even get off before even shout out to you guys. I've watched, with Masai Ujiri, with Giants of
Yeah.
Africa. How's
Yeah.
that experience been, and how has that translated to you in your program? Because
Hmm.
that's been also crazy for me to watch it from the courts, to you guys having that great working relationship there, man. But again, that talks about your credibility also.
Yeah. I think one, Masai Ujiri is a humble guy. Wow, an amazing person. Just sweet. It's a blessing, just kind of like to have him as a friend and a support of what we guys are doing back here in our communities. And we've been blessed. Actually, our basketball court in the Opa, I would say that also received its new face look with amazing backboards, that glass, and just an amazing terrace. I think Giants of Africa stepped in to actually bless us with that amazing space in partnership with the Opa Catholic Church. Also, we've had Giants of Africa and Masai Ujiri in particular helping us put basketball hoops in all the public schools in our community. That makes our work in coaching and teaching the game in
Wow.
those spaces very, very easy, because we kind of like noticed that a lot of our public schools, where they usually assemble for assembly, it's a nice hard surface, kind of like built with either cabros or kind of like a cement floor. So it was just easy for us to introduce backboards and hoops and draw the lines. So all the 5 schools in our courts have basketball hoops, kind of like courtesy of Giants of Africa through Masai Ujiri. So for us, again, I would say this is an amazing kind of like partnership, and I would say support from Masai Ujiri has actually been also very, very key in kind of like, I would say, the growth that you've seen us being able to do in our community. Every time that they're doing the basketball camps here in Kenya, he tends to make time to actually pass by Kayole as a community just to do the small basketball clinics and camps with the upcoming young kids, basically. And that also has been a key motivation to the athletes in my community to kind of like look forward to actually playing at an elite level, because Masai Ujiri, he's one of us, he's Kenyan, and he has the heart of the development that is happening all over Kenya. But now he's also very, very intentional in growing the game all over Africa. And we applaud and support him for that. And we're praying for him in all his endeavors. Yeah.
Man, great spoken words, man.
Yeah.
So what, like for us, so the next step I'm talking about is how do we get our local people, local corporates, local to come and see these things and feel that it's the right thing to do. You know, let's talk. I'm talking about like the Southcoms, the Airtel, whatever. You know, the Brookside, all these companies. How do we get them to understand or to see the value of if someone like Giants of Africa can see the value? How come some organizations don't see the value or corporates don't see the value in investing in a program like yours?
I think that's a good question. I would say one, let's keep doing what we're doing. Let's keep making the noise. It's obvious.
Yes,
Automatically, just as you said, somebody will notice. And I think one, I just want to give a very big shout out to some of those amazing corporates that kind of like have shown faith and invested in what you guys are doing. I would say Giants of Africa being one of them, but also Greer Insurance actually just
yes,
stepping in just last season, the season that just ended, in terms of just supporting and awarding our
yes,
players and the teams. That is just amazing. Greer, headed by Nathaniel Mkoma, is just one of those amazing young guys raised and bred here in Kayole. But as he's been kind of like getting blessed, he also felt like it was key for him to come back and give back to his community. So hats off for him and his company, but also just having organizations around that have always been availing their resources in terms of giving us financial support. Just to mention a few, IREP is a community-based organization that also works in terms of giving information to young people in terms of reproductive health. They've always been around us and supporting us in terms of just making sure that we have those basic resources for us to do these activities, especially the advocacy leagues. So I think one, it's up to us one to be very, very organized, because the Safaricoms, I would say the Airtels, those are big corporates. One, they are not gonna attach themselves to anything mediocre. And I think that is what we guys are really working hard so much now. First of all,
yeah,
to make sure that all our leagues in particular are very well packaged as brands and kind of like our franchises, that yes, if they opt to attach their brand in there, basically it's going to be a win-win scenario. So I think for us, it's just a shout out to all of them wherever they are. Hey, just poke and look at this side. Come and see the good work that is happening. Come and see the movement. Come and see the opportunities. And I believe we can actually work through a mutual understanding and build this from the ground up, because I believe that it's all hands on deck. It's not going to really work with only one side putting in the effort. I believe it's going
yes.
to work with everyone bringing in the resources and what they have on board to actually improve the standards of sports in Kenya. And in particular for us, I believe also, as we are growing the game, you're working really to be very, very intentional to have this as an economic activity for these young people that are playing in it. Yes, I believe that it's just a matter of time before, yes, a parent will really be pushing their kid to play sports, to play basketball. Why? It pays. Because right now, all the kids, they only dream to play the game outside our borders, whether go to America or go to Uganda or go to Rwanda, because they feel like if I play there, I'm going to be appreciated. I'm going to actually make ends meet. And for us, we believe that that also can be done here. And I believe we are also working so hard to be very, very intentional and strategic in making sure that this platform that we're creating are able to do that. And I believe also just to give a shout out to the federation. They've been trying, but also just really urging them to step out there and use their platform to attract more corporates really invest in the game.
Man, you had that. Man, say less, man. I
Yes.
can't add anything onto that, man. It looks like you are expecting that question and you are ready for it. It looks you are ready for that question. Hey,
Yeah.
but I know we got on here. We got on here, and it was kind of like internet issues. But man, I want to tell you thank you for taking your time, man, to just share with us with some of the things you are doing, man. I appreciate you taking your time to spend your Sunday evening with us and sharing your knowledge and what you guys are doing. And I just hope everybody can learn a little bit. I learned from you, and I appreciate what you guys are doing. And kudos to you guys.
Thanks, Coach PK, for also just inviting me and allowing me to be a guest in your show, Scratcho. It's an amazing show. First of all, just want to say thank you for always creating this platform where a lot of the good work that is happening in Kenya can be able to be exposed. So God bless Sana and the work that you do in really investing in our youth. Feba, kind of like being a beneficiary in most of your camps. A lot of our young athletes, now they are young coaches and young leaders, have been exposed to you. So also want to say a big thank you. And also just this is a special one to you, kind of like really stepping in and supporting one of our young athletes, Joanne. Right now, she's in KCA University pursuing
Wow. Look
a
at here,
degree,
man.
yeah, in
Well,
psychology and counseling. And I
yes,
believe
sir.
that you really stood with that young girl when she was joining high school. You became kind of like a God sent person to her. And for that, we as an organization want to say a very, very big thank you. Yeah, that is
Man,
one life that you really touched. Yeah.
man, again, it's not just me. I have a group of individuals again who, when they see it's a great cause, man, when anything I do and they see it's a it's a
Mhm.
great thing, man, they always step in and they help. The Cartwrights, Alex Aluga, these are all great Stitch,
Yeah.
George Omondi, I have, Donna. These are guys who play basketball and they're willing to help, but it gotta be for the right reason. It has to be, again, as you say, it cannot be something mediocre. So
Yeah.
again, that's a reflection of the good work you guys are doing. That even somebody can trust and know that if they're sending money, it's gonna go to the right cause.
Mm.
Haitafika mara mtoi
Yeah.
haiko shule
Yeah.
mara. So yeah, but hey, thank you, man. I'll catch up with you this year, man. Sometime we'll visit again and see you. Maybe talk about your league, man. Just more about the league and how we can work together moving forward, man. April I'm gonna be around. I'll be
Yeah,
around in
sure.
April,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Yeah, sure, coach. Even for us, we can't wait to have you back here, back home. We hope
Yes,
that the
sir,
COVID situation globally it's able to kind
man.
of like get fixed and hey, we kind of like get back to yes, even if it's a new normal, but a normal that really allow us to really engage and kind of like play. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Man, I
Yeah.
appreciate you so much for getting on here, man. Thank you. Have a good night, sir.
Thank you. Thank you a lot, Coach PK, and good night also.
All
Bye
right, you
bye.
too. Bye. Man, great conversation there with the CEO, Musosi, Moses Musosi from Far East Basketball, man. It's a journey of they've started out in 2010 and now they're doing amazing things there, man. If you have not, again, I would say, if you're not aware of what they do, man, go follow Far East Basketball Association. Google that, put it on Facebook, and you're gonna see what the amazing things they are doing. Again, happy Sunday. That's my time. Till next one. We'll catch you next Sunday. Thank you.